the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome and thank you for coming. Do we have any need for translation? Nope. Okay, at this time I will accept a motion to approve today's agenda.
I will make that motion.
And I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 4-0. We'll move right into our student representative reports. Sorry to throw that at you so quickly.
Well, there's nothing going on besides just like leadership training at school. That's about it.
Great. Great. If you need anything from us, let us know.
Yeah, of course.
Moving on to board member discussion, we'll turn the time over to Director Gerber for our legislative report.
I don't have anything for legislative report today.
Okay, we're cruising right through. We're gonna break a record, depending on how many slides Josh has. At this time, I'll accept a motion for required approvals.
I'll make a motion to approve required approvals.
I will second that.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 4-0. And at this time, we'll turn the time over to Josh for our superintendent informational items.
There are just a couple slides here. This is just a follow-up. When we left the retreat last week, there were a couple of questions to be answered, and so we want to make sure we got back to you. That you've seen that slide. Ken, we would have seen it on Tuesday night, but it's just if we are looking at a February election, February 2026 election, that would be the timing and the pieces, how they come together. Azaro had asked a question about could we run in November, and so we did some research. And the answer to the quick answer to that question is yes. Right, if you could go to the next slide, please. But I want to be realistic with you in next one. There you go. What that would look like. It's a very tight timeline. So basically, the resolution has to be filed with Adams County by August 5th. There are only 2 existing regular board meetings between now and August 5th, and so that would mean at those 2 meetings. You would need to do the 2-step approval process for a levy resolution. So, yes, it's possible, but it would need to be pretty efficient. And I think the biggest risk in that, I don't doubt at all that you all could do the work there, and we could do it from the back end to get it ready. It's does that give ample time for the community communication and the pieces that follow it is, I think, the bigger question. So, so those are the dates. That election day is November 4th, as you know, but the 2 meetings that are scheduled in July are July 14th and 28th. And so typically that first one, we would bring you all the details and facts and everything to make it. And then the final resolution would be approved at that last meeting in July, and then we would turn around and file it right away by August 5th. So I don't know if you have questions about that or...
The other, you were thinking about February for the
Correct.
Would it be, because I've just found out today there might be another jurisdiction running another bond possibly in February. It could be ranging from 3 million to 20 million. They're not for sure on the amount.
Okay.
Would that possibly affect it, especially if it was the $20 million bond? Affect the school? Could it kind of send a negative impact?
Yeah, certainly there's probably lots of things to consider, and one of those, if there's another entity in our community that's putting forth a tax, people do look at the full scope of it and make a determination of what's affordable for their family or business or farm or whatever they're voting on behalf of. So I think you have to take all of that into consideration and really make a determination of what's best. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so do we wait for board discussions, or do we talk about it now?
We already are past board discussion, so I think it's appropriate to talk about it right now.
So are you talking about the one for the fire department, Ken? Is that the one you're?
No, that one will be out in November. I'm talking about the City of Othello possibly going out for bond for a new pool. And they
So-
had several options discussed, from repairing it, which is right around 3.5 million, but their top of the line choice was 20 million. They did have a couple in between, but my understanding is they want to go out for a bond possibly in February also on that.
So
But they're not for sure on the direction on which one they're going in.
on top of that one, I did read that they are gonna go out for one for, they don't have enough funds for the fire department now that it's splitting up.
That will be in
between-
November.
And so that one's going as well, so there's quite a bit of them coming at us, so we need to, maybe start looking at this a little deeper thinking, or start putting our stuff together, or trying to figure this out, but the people from Othello will be getting hit quite a bit in the next 2 to 3 years.
If I might offer you a suggestion, one of the things that we can do in preparation for our July meeting is we could basically get the package ready, and whether you choose to take action on it or not, could choose if the path moves forward. So you don't feel like you have to make a decision right at this minute, but basically what we need to hear from you is if that's of interest to you at all, we have some work on our end to start doing to getting the package ready. So.
And I think for us, I honestly believe, for the group of us, not, and including Mariah, is actually maybe having another, executive session, or having an open meeting where we sit down, because we knew it was going to be this one was gonna affect the next one, the next one, the next
Yeah.
one, because of what we were going to do. And I think more now than ever, we really need to figure out that timeline.
I know the City of Othello one will affect just the residents of Othello. And like their last pool bond that went out, they went out with the Park and Rec District boundaries, which is basically the school district boundaries. But this time they can't do that, so it would have to be the City of Othello residents only on that bond. And I know the county one, fire department, will only be for the county residents. So it affects all of our voters within the school district.
Is the fire department still gonna run a bond, if there's still potential for negotiations for maybe that not splitting, or is that deal done?
That would be, I think, more of a Ken question, because
So-
I think he knows a little more on that one.
What they're proposing is a levy lift through the county residents. I believe they put out a letter today. It's right around 30 cents per thousand. There is potential, but until after the 9th of July, I really can't discuss it a lot.
Ken?
The fire district, I've had discussions with them, and I don't want anything to affect the fire department's future funding either. So-
Agreed, okay.
But that's what they're looking at now.
I would say, as far as the board's concerned, let's move forward with some haste, so that we could potentially be ready for the August 5th deadline.
And the only, if you choose not to act on it, the work is not for, it just pushes it out a little
Yeah,
bit. So
yeah.
it's perfectly okay for us to get going on that. So,
Okay.
okay. Just one other slide real quick, if there's no other discussion. You have to know, first of all, I hate admitting when I'm wrong, but I was wrong the other night in the retreat, and I need to clarify something. So I used the number, remember when we were talking about bonding capacity and basically being like a credit limit for a school district? For bonds, I used the number 10%, which was inaccurate. It's actually only 5%. The number is still a very massive number that's far beyond what probably we would be looking for anyway, but I do want to clarify that. So based on our assessed valuation last year was 2.4 billion. So on that 2.4 billion, the 5% would mean at any given time, we can't have any more than 124 million out in bonds. And right now we have about 7.5 million is left, those 3 remaining years on the 2007 bond.
That
Yeah.
one, that wouldn't even build a high school if we needed it to.
124?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
That'll get us a lot closer than the $0 we have right
Yeah.
now, but
And keep in mind that number doesn't include things like state match. That's what's actual the debt occurred to
Right.
the district or the
Okay.
taxpayers of the district. So
Okay.
state match would be on top of that.
great.
So basically, you're telling me it's 124, and then it would be whatever the state would give us on top of that.
Correct.
So, okay, so that, the state match doesn't count part of
No.
the 5%.
No, because it's not considered local debt that's elected by your voters in your community. So
Question, how do we get that to 10 instead of 5, or is that a roll, or?
we think it's an RCW. It is an RCW. There's certain conditions which allow districts to apply for more than that. But frankly speaking, I don't think Othello is going to meet that qualification because it's really intended for really property poor districts, and we're not considered one of those. So
Yeah.
It's more than I thought it was gonna be, so,
We'll wait till we go out for 70 bonds out here for the city. We'll
Yeah.
get there.
all right. Well, thank you.
okay, thank you, Josh. Next up, we have our policy review. This is just our first reading. Please review those, and then we'll vote on those at our next meeting. Marissa, do we have any public comment? No public comment, so we'll move on to upcoming events. July 14th at 1 PM, we have our next regular scheduled board meeting, and then July 28th at 1 PM, we have our last board meeting of July. Does anyone have anything to add to that? Nope, okay. Oh, sorry.
Lindsay, would we put something in there should we put something temporarily in case we do decide to act on this levy deal? Should we maybe make a date to where we could all get together and have a conversation?
Let's have Marissa reach out to each of us and set an appointment, because
Okay.
Mariah's not here. So if we need an additional board meeting or an executive session moving forward, maybe you can coordinate that with Josh to see when they're ready for more information for us. Excuse me. Okay, we'll move on to the board self-assessment of the meeting.
Quick.
Yeah,
Well-planned agenda.
very much so. Thank you, Josh, for that information. We have a lot to think about, a lot to consider moving forward with our levy and potentially a bond in the next few years. So we got to do what's right for our kids and right for our community. So thank you for coming to the meeting ready with that information. Appreciate it.